Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Wednesday, January 8th, North Middlesex Council meeting. Thank everyone for being here an hour early. We did get some inclement weather in parts of North Middlesex today, but glad everyone could make it. Call the meeting to order. Disclosure of pecuniary interest. Anybody has any, please forward it through to Alan. Minutes of the previous meeting. Any errors or omissions, business arising from that? Seeing none, a motion to approve. Councillor Irwin, Councillor Daigle, all in favor? Carried. There is a change in our order here tonight in that we're going to take Department Report 8.1 and move it down just after the closed session. You're welcome, Brandon.
Your worship, can we get a resolution for that?
Yeah, we need a motion for that. Councillor Daigle, Councillor Nerda, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. All right, so we're going to move to the report from Director of Economic Development, Brandon Drew, and that's on the childcare renovation. Carolyn, you're doing that, I think.
Yes, Brandon Drew is enjoying his vacation in Mexico, so he wasn't able to join us, even though, I thought he could just come back and do it. But anyway, so the report before you tonight is to do with the Park Hill renovations to the Park Hill Community Center to accommodate our new daycare facility within that facility. Council's heard various numbers with regards to this project over the past year, but now we've able to solidify some numbers. So I just wanted to kind of go over those because I think there's some misunderstandings in the public from what I've been hearing even as a result of this report going out. So the total cost for all renovations, which means renovations to create the child care center, as well as renovations to the municipal portion, which is always going to mean municipal portion for a community center, total of amount of 741,000 and some change. So that is the total cost. The municipal portion of the building, which means our community center portion, is about 250,000. Out of that total 741,000, 80,000 of that is for K&L Construction to do the construction management of that whole project. And we've worked with K&L before, and we've being that this is a renovation as opposed to a new build, and you never know what you'll find behind walls when you start renovating. A design build type of experience was felt to be the best way to reduce our costs. So in saying that, so only 250,000 is the municipal contribution. That 250,000 is only for the community center portion. And the municipality will be receiving a lease payment from the daycare facility of about 60,000 a year. So repayment of the renovations to our portion will be paid off in about 5 years' time. In addition, the remaining portion of that 741 is coming from a grant to the daycare provider to do the renovations to the building. No municipal monies will be spent to do any renovations to create the daycare center itself, only to renovate the community center portion only. So I hope that clarifies things a little bit. And so tonight we're looking for council's support to move ahead with K&L to project manage this on our behalf with the numbers I've outlined for you. And the project start date hasn't yet been determined because we can't sign on the dotted line yet, but I can tell you that they're willing and able to do the works, and we will work around existing functions that have been previously scheduled for the community center to try to avoid as many conflicts as possible and get them in, do the work, and out again so that the functions that are scheduled for that facility can continue, and Pine Tree can get in as well to start doing their tenant improvements to their portion to start their daycare. So that's what we're before you today to do. Thank you.
Okay, questions? Councillor Daigle?
Thank you. You made the statement the balance is being paid to the daycare provider, not to us?
That is correct. The municipality could not apply for the funding for the creation of the daycare. We became co-applicants in it, but in fact, the monies are actually being provided to Pine Tree to do the renovations. So they will be paying entirely for their own renovations to create the daycare. We don't pay any monies towards that whatsoever. The bills will go to them.
Do you have follow-up? No, you're good. Other questions? Councillor Canales?
Thank you, Mayor. My question is, who designed and costed out the renovation project?
So initially, we had Henry Swinkles at no cost. He actually did some work for us, did an initial design of the look of it, and did some estimates without pulling walls apart or anything of that nature, just did an estimate of what he thought it would be. Then we went out to the construction community to find someone who'd be willing to work with us to do a design build based on what information we had at the time. And we talked to a number of contractors. So when K&L came on board, they were able to then dig in deeper to what the actual cost would be together with Henry.
So K&L is agreeable to the 741,000 total cost in?
That is correct.
Okay. And how many spaces again is it? To refresh my memory?
If I remember correctly, I think it was 89 spaces.
89? Okay. And the staffing will be provided by Pine Tree.
Correct.
They will not be municipal
They're a
employees.
tenant to us, so they will be paying a lease. As far as the operation of the daycare, that's completely up to them.
And will those payments be annual or semi-annual or monthly or?
Well, it's 60,000 a year, whether that'll be spread out monthly or annually, I don't know at this time, but that is the total amount for the year.
Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Nerda.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Carolyn, how long is this lease with Pine Tree?
If I remember correctly, based on the grant, they have to operate for a minimum of 10 years. So they would have to continue to lease for us for a minimum of that period of time.
Thank you.
Other questions? No other questions from council? You have a recommendation in front of you. What's your wish? Moved by Councillor Irwin, seconded by Councillor Nerda. All in favor? Carried. Opposed? One opposed. That is carried. Our next item is committee reports, Lake Huron Primary Water.
Nothing at this time.
Okay. ABCA.
No meeting in January.
Okay. Blue Water Recycling,
Again, nothing.
Economic Development.
We are in active recruitment for a couple new members for the committee. So if you are interested, please reach out to myself or Felicia. And I believe Felicia has a report to discuss tonight.
Thank you. So in front of you is a report that was just from our previous Economic Development Advisory Committee, the recommendations for 2025. So that report is in front of you. If you have any questions.
Any questions from council on this? Councillor Canellison.
Thank you, Mayor. My question is for the chair of the committee. Given that there's a recommendations come forward, or not even recommendations for information only, and looking at the composition of this committee, there is actually a quorum of council on this committee. So has this decision already been made? And this is just a formality presenting this to us?
Sorry.
There's a quorum of council on this committee. There's 3 councillors and the mayor. So that's a quorum of council on this committee. So my question for you is, has this decision already been made? Is this just a formality for information?
This report here is for me, for information. Thank you. Yes, this report in front of you is for information.
Well, I find it odd that there's a quorum of council on this committee. Can someone explain to me why that's the case?
So jump in. That is an excellent question, Counselor. With the terms of reference being updated, I need to take a quick peek. Well, there's a recommendation today for the terms to be updated. I won't be able to answer that for another 2-3 minutes.
Well,
I will just, if I can, Adrian, I'll just say that I have not taken part in the committee for that very reason. that there would make four of us on there.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I read the terms of reference thoroughly, and it says that that you can attend as a de facto member if you wish,
Right.
and that you could be a non-voting member, but you have the right to vote as the mayor. You have the right to vote, and that you can be your presence can be utilized to confirm a quorum of the committee. So then that would also be a quorum of council.
Okay.
If you were to vote.
Okay. Go ahead.
Through your
Alan.
worship, I concur with the counselor on that interpretation. And with that, maybe we might have to table this updated terms of reference till next meeting to make an adjustment for that.
Okay.
Yes, and I think that we should also look at the rec committee because I see it's the same situation there as well.
Through your worship, yet again, I do agree and concur.
Thank you very much.
Councillor Irwin.
Just to add to the councillor's comments, that was the situation on the local school advisory committee. But when we changed the terms of reference, it's now 2 members of council and the mayor's ex official. So we've already addressed it in that situation.
And I appreciate that.
Okay. So we have recommendations in front of us, but is the desire of council to table this? Go ahead, Alan.
Your worship, we were within just the information report for the director of economic development. So we probably just accept that for information. And then when we get to the next part, we'll defer that to the next meeting.
Okay. All right. So the first part, Councillor Irwin.
If the chair would like, I'm prepared to move this or second it, depending on the chair. So
Moved by Councillor Nerda, seconded by Councillor Irwin.
Good. Your worship, may I speak to it before we vote?
Yes.
I guess I would just question whether or not we recommend this be moved to budget deliberations as opposed to implementation so that it can be considered as part of the budget process. That's what I would suggest, because of course, looking at this in absence of the rest of the budget, it might be difficult, but certainly it could be moved to be considered as part of budget.
Okay, we're just for information at this time. On the first part.
Yeah, that's what was suggested, but members of the committee are suggesting we move it ahead to implementation. I believe that was the suggestion, but maybe I'm incorrect.
Your worship, I may be able to provide clarification for the group. We kind of cross streams between 2 different portions of
Right.
those agenda items. The first part being just a general update from Felicia, and then the second part being the terms of reference update. So I believe that what was on the table is that we accept the report from Felicia as information, which will be forwarded to the budget naturally. And then for the terms of references, I'll bring that back next meeting with the adjustments.
That was my understanding as well. It's just for information, this. Okay,
Are we then voting on receiving this for information?
just voting for information.
Okay.
Okay. In favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, the next one is local school advisory. Anything there?
meeting tomorrow evening, your worship, and just to let council know, we haven't heard yet from Roma around our request for delegation status, which went forward. And one of the items on tomorrow's meeting will be constructing a survey looking at how the 5 local schools can work better with the municipality and the community. So we'll be bringing that survey back to council for review.
Okay. Any questions on that for anyone? No. Rec committee? Nothing? Policy review committee, we did meet today and there will be a policy, I believe, coming forward. Mr. Chair, do you want to add to that?
Yeah. There are no policies for tonight's meeting, but we did have a good meeting this afternoon and there will be some new policies coming at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Fire committee?
Yes, the dates for the 2025 committee meetings have been sent out by the fire chief and look for responses.
Okay, thank you. Budget committee, or nothing's happening yet. Community Development Fund Committee. When is the date for meeting?
16th,
What is it? So,
16th at 1
16th?
PM.
Aqua Client Advisory Board.
Nothing for tonight's meeting.
Okay, thank you. The Middlesex County OPP detachment.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Last night I went to Luke Madelph's member, because being his joint membership with me being on that with them. Detachment Commander Ross Stewart was there, so I thought I should go and just sit in the audience and see what kind of questions were being asked. So if there was anything to take back to the board when we meet in February. I did forward my counselor and former employee of here a question that I would like to ask, because another one of my fellow counselors asked it of me that I would ask, but I thought, see if I could get an answer sooner. And that was to do with school board or school bus safety. Yes, my counselor did ask the question, and it is on, it always has been ongoing. Are they, I asked them if they were going to increase it, do more. The answer was basically no, but they feel they're doing enough right now. So I just thought I wanted to get that answer back to my fellow counselor as soon, so I kind of, that's the reason why I attended last night. I don't know when our attachment commander is going to attend here or not, but he, we feel free to ask more questions then, but I wanted to get that one answered last night. So other than that, that's all I have on that. Just, and we do meet again. Our board is in February. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Councillor Connellison?
Thank you, Mayor Rob. I want to appreciate the deputy mayor's efforts to get a response to my question. I do appreciate that very much. And I look forward to talking to the detachment commander when he's at our council. Thank you.
Councillor Irwin?
I just want to raise this to our representative on the board, your worship. I am concerned about the I think the significant increase in OPP fees to our municipalities. I know we're going to get some relief this year, but if we don't see that next year, then it's a double increase. And I don't know what we can do about it at this time, but I don't think it's reasonable or something that's sustainable for us to see these types of increases going forward. And maybe as a community, as a collection of communities, we need to think about an approach around this. A significant increase coming our way, not as much as some of our sister communities, but still a significant increase with no additional service.
Okay. I do know that we did look into briefly, and Councillor Connellison, I think you'll remember that, to look at a private detachment or joining with another private detachment, and the numbers weren't very good at that time. It was pretty cost prohibitive to do that. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Just to reply back to my fellow counselor there, and I think it was addressed, I think when he was here in the fall, the OPP signed a significant new contract as of last year in July, which made them the most highly paid police force for the time being in Ontario. And the detachment commander committed to that, saying last night, that is mainly the cost of the high rise of what our fees will be in for policing costs. So just.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions from on that? Seeing none, we'll move on to correspondence. We don't have any, but there's only been a few working days since our last meeting, to be fair. Other and urgent business, other business, Councillor Daigle.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a bone to pick, I guess, with our internet provider companies, North Frontenac. We are getting lots of line put in our ground, but we've got lots of lines sticking up. Nothing's being done with them. I was approached by ratepayers today who live on Neil Road, who have the Quadro groups wireless. They've been notified by Quadro that as of March 31st, they can no longer be offered the service. The government has made some change somewhere that only Bell and Rogers can offer wireless. And so all of a sudden they have no option. He says, all we've got in front of us is a blue cable that goes nowhere. So he says, as March 31st, we have nothing. Unless they go with Bell or Rogers, and they got to then sign a 3-year deal, which is just absolutely ridiculous. I would like to see us get North Frontenac in front of us here at the most soon as possible. They've been put in line in this municipality 2 years now. And I bet you there isn't one customer that has internet in North Middlesex.
I think that's a great question to ask them right off the top. But yes, we have talked about bringing them in before Christmas. We did talk about that, correct? And I agree. We can make direction of that to get them here. Councillor Canellis and then Councillor Keel.
Just to respond to Councillor Daigle's comments there, I did in fact place a call to North Frontenac because the wire's been sitting in front of my house for months. And I think when he was here, he told us that in June of 2024, we would be connected, which hasn't happened. So I did leave a message 5 or 6 months ago and have not received a call back. But I would encourage those people in McGuire or Neil Road, you said, Starlink, Elon Musk, he provides service immediately. And you can just buy the thing, stick it up and you put it in yourself. There's no cost and it works great. Starlink, yeah, it works great and it's unlimited and you can install it yourself.
Councillor Keel.
Thank you, Mayor Rob. Yes, further to Councillor Daigle's comment there. I specifically remember a year ago, last fall, when North Frontenac was sitting in front of us, when they would be accepting phone calls. And at that time, they assured us as council that there would be connections made by February. So we're 11 months and we're still no closer to that.
Okay, just a second. Councillor Irwin, and then I'll come.
Thank you, Your Worship. And great conversation. There are alternatives to North Frontenac as well. And maybe we should encourage those alternatives in our community. So I have North Frontenac in front of my house and Hay Communications. They both put the lines in at the same time. I'm hooked up to Hay. And it's a local co-op. Now, I did hear from one of the ratepayers in Elsa Craig that Hay has only gone to the north corner of Church Street and hasn't gone back the rest of the community. And they'd like to see Hay go through our community. And I'm wondering if we can even invite them to consider expansion because they are a local co-op. Their offices are throughout this part of southwestern Ontario, and they provide a very good service. And they hooked up immediately.
So my only question to that is that would be 3 fiber companies in the village of Elsa Craig.
Yeah. Well, I have 2 fiber companies in front of my house in a rural community, so I guess I'm blessed. One has a line and maybe one doesn't. Well, I guess I'm blessed to having 2.
One of them just keep putting flags in. Councillor Daigle.
Just further on the North Frontenac, these people that were communicating with me, they've said North Frontenac told them maybe the summer of this year, maybe the summer of this year. It's always a future date.
Well, yeah, I think we need to get them here because I have some questions too about the infrastructure they put in front of our park in Elsa Craig. They put quite a piece of infrastructure there. Not really the greatest spot for it, but yeah, I think we need to get them here. Okay. Okay. Any other business?
Do we need a motion on that to
Do we
get
need a
them
motion? I
to?
think just direction to staff to.
I believe direction's sufficient and I will contact them or our clerk will contact them as soon as tomorrow.
Perfect. Any other business? Nothing else? All right. Deferred items, communications, including county council. Oh, sorry.
I have a
Councillor
question from county council, if I may. Given that I have the opportunity to speak to the warden here on county council, I would like to ask that member of county council what the status is of the road safety, particularly the stoplights at Appin Road and Melbourne Road and other high traffic areas such as that.
What are you asking? Like whether they are getting the traffic lights or what are you?
Yes, will the council direct staff to install these lights and to improve community safety?
So yeah, I can answer to those lights that were approved last year. They are all being put in the spring. And I know they haven't got any new ones on the book. And that was said, and I did get a couple of calls from that. And I did confirm that they are doing the ones that are already on the books. So that intersection is being done.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions, county council? Deputy Mayor Hodgins.
And being as we have the warden, yes, the mayor to the warden.
It's going to be a long year, isn't it?
I don't know what time of year, but there was always been a time when certain roads were looked at to be maybe put down or taken over by the county. Has that started yet? And do we have any roads that we may be turning over to the county?
So we have, it happens every 5 years, I believe. the road and bridge assumption. And when Jaden Hodgins was here, he did put in for some roads, I believe. Go ahead, Brandon, you can answer this.
Through your worship, yeah, Jaden and I worked on that and we recommended some roads that were high counts from the last time we did a traffic count. I think it was like McGuire, Prince William, and maybe Cassidy, ones that kind of jank with the county already, and our steel structured bridges. So like Adair, Mooresville, New Ontario, and Spring Bay are the ones we recommended.
Okay, so the county hasn't met yet on that. That is to be done started in the spring. So yeah, they haven't met on it yet, but we do have some. Any other questions? I know you want to ask one, John, you just can't think of it right now. Okay. Okay, reading of the bylaws.
Thank-
Um,
Thank you, Your Worship. That bylaws 001 of 2025, 002 of 2025, 003 of 2025, and 004 of 25 be heard first and second time.
Okay, just before we go to that, Ralph goes. We deferred that one.
That is an excellent point by the treasurer. Please strike 003 from that list as first and second.
Mr. Clerk, can we do confirming before we have finished the meeting either?
That is also, that's an excellent question. Yes, we can. It's based on the day, not on the time.
Okay, so first on 14.1, 14.2, and 14.4.
Yes, Your Worship.
Okay, first and second. Counselor Daigle, Deputy Mayor Hodgins, all in favor? Carried. Third and final. Counselor Nerda, Counselor Keough, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. I am looking for a motion to go into closed and regarding personal matters of 239 2B. Moved by Counselor Daigle, seconded by